The real estate market is about to get even more exciting with a blockchain technology-powered platform launching soon. The first in Asia, and it's by a Filipino talent. AQwire will serve as a global marketplace for properties for international buyers and sellers. The icing on the cake, they will accept payments in cryptocurrencies. Now that's enough teaser. Let's now meet the man who's going to revolutionize the way we list and buy properties. We have with us this morning the CEO of AQwire, Ray Refundo. Good morning, Ray. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, Mimi.
So, Ray, online listings for properties are a dime a dozen these days. I mean, you've got ZipMatch, OLX, Lamudi, and the list goes on. How is AQwire different, and what is your proposition? How are you using blockchain technology to do things differently?
Well, AQwire is owned and operated by AQwire. It's a payments platform. We've been doing international payments for real estate for the past 3 years. The difference is AQwire is targeting international buyers specifically, and it will basically empower developers and brokers to access more foreign markets. Most of these listing sites right now that exist are largely localized and targeting local markets, and they don't have a payments platform. The AQwire listing platform will start as a listing site, but eventually it will become a complete marketplace, having many of the features of a marketplace.
So as a consumer, how will this change the way I buy properties, for example? Are you saying that in your platform, I can actually see the listings, connect to an agent, and do all the transactions online?
That is correct, yes. You are engaged with an agent of the developer you're working with, but a lot of the transactions that you can do booking, you can do reservations, you can do bidding and queuing, you can do escrow transactions on the platform itself. So it's not just a listing site or classified, you can actually do transactions.
And you're launching late November to early December, and the first to be listed on your platform is the first local unicorn company, Revolution Precrafted Properties, which is by Robbie Antonio, who also belongs to the Century Properties Group. It's supposed to list 30,000 prefabricated units. Now, Robbie earlier said he was this asset light. He wants this asset light global business model to be truly everywhere. Now, how are you going to help his company do that?
Well, like us, Robbie Antonio's company, Revolution Precrafted, is already global. They are present in 24 countries. They have struck deals all over the world, and the goal is for us to be able to help them sell more property to non-Filipino buyers. So that's the goal, because our platform will permeate across the world and will be accessible to foreign markets.
For now, you're actually starting with Philippine developers. So after Robbie Antonio, you have a lineup of other big developers that you want to open up to foreign buyers. I mean, what's the potential? What is the market size there?
Well, the cross-border real estate market is around $400 billion last year. It's actually a pretty sizable market, and yet the Philippines only received $6 billion of that, and largely from overseas Filipinos. And many developers in Singapore and Hong Kong and Thailand have been selling to foreign developers for years, so for foreign buyers for years. So it's a market we should be looking into, and if our developers can access more foreign buyers, foreign markets, for example, Japanese retirees, American retirees, people who just want to make investment in property or other investment vehicle, it's actually a good market to be in. It can increase tourism, it can increase investment in the country, and create jobs.
Ray, a very quick question. Would you have an idea how many local property developers are able to tap the global market, or able to advertise on the global stage today?
Right now, we have about 180 property developers in the Philippines from our latest count, and less than 10 are actually actively marketing overseas. The top 5 big ones, the top 10 big ones, and they are spending heavily in road shows and sending agents all over the world. And it's also mostly targeting local Filipinos overseas. So it's not really a market that is being taken advantage of as of the moment. AQwire will enable smaller developers, mid-sized developers, to be able to sell property to foreign buyers or overseas buyers, and they don't even have to send people overseas to do it.
And so you're going to start with Philippine developers, developments being offered to foreign buyers. Is the plan to eventually do it the other way around? I mean, to list foreign developments for Filipinos to snap up?
Yes, it can. Eventually, we started with Filipino developers, but eventually we're going to have developers in Dubai, Thailand, and Filipinos can start, who can afford it, can start buying property overseas as well. So it's going to be a global platform. We plan to become a multinational company. We're targeting 12 key markets in the world where buying a property is done largely by people outside. For example, in the UAE, there's a lot of interest in buying property there from abroad. New York, Silicon Valley, and Philippines, of course, Vancouver, Canada. So these are really hot markets right now for cross-border real estate.
When you talk about cross-border transactions, I imagine that regulatory issues would be top of mind. I mean, in the Philippines, we have a 40-60 foreign ownership rules, for example. Other countries will have their own set of policies. Now, how will this complicate things, and how do you plan to jump over this hurdle?
Yeah, in most developing countries like the Philippines, we have restrictions in terms of like buying landed property. So condominium, we start with just condominiums and flats and apartments. So anything that's non-landed, and we're only going to deal with developers and brokers. We're not dealing. It's not a peer-to-peer marketplace wherein if you have a house you want to sell to a foreigner, you can't just do it. So we start with developers and brokers. And in other developed markets like the United States, Australia, and Canada, they allow people to actually buy landed property. So when we expand to those markets, we're gonna get into that vertical as well.
And I know that your system will be connected to the system, either the booking or reservation system of the developers, of the local developers who are going to be getting on board your platform. But are you also going to be able to integrate your system with government agencies who, for example, will need to keep track of all of these transactions?
That is right. Eventually, we're going to probably launch a title registry, some form of title registry, so people can actually determine whether a transaction, a property is legitimate. But that's when we enter the secondary market, where people are actually buying used property and used homes. So they need to be able to validate land titles. Also, KYC is very important for developers, so we need to be able to validate the identity of people buying property. So connection with government is going to be critical at that point.
You know, the good thing about this setup, I think, is that the unit AQwire is already part of an online cross-border payments company, AQwire, which you mentioned earlier, and you have the backbone in place already. In fact, AQwire processed about $16 million in real estate payments back in 2016, and you're looking to hit $30 million by this year. And recently, you also partnered with Satoshi Citadel to launch a crypto payments gateway. Question, will this be a closed system, meaning all transactions will eventually be done in digital currencies?
Not necessarily, but we think it's going to be a growing component of that because there's so many buyers out there, especially in Japan and South Korea, that are interested in making property purchases or mortgage payments or rental payments using blockchain, especially Bitcoin and Ethereum. So that's a really exciting space to be in.
And talking about your business model now, how will you make money out of this? Where are you going to get the profit that you will make from this business venture? And I know you're the first in Asia, but have you seen this business model work elsewhere?
Yeah, it works on traditional listing sites. We're basically making revenue as a traditional listing site and also revenue as a traditional payments platform. So we're going to make money like 1 to 2% on every property sold based on our deal with the developer. And basically we act as a broker. And we're also going to make around 4 to 5% on the transactions, on the payments themselves. So we could probably make around 6 to 7% per property bought and sold on the platform.
And on that note, thank you very much, Ray. Exciting times ahead for you. We hope we could talk to you once you actually launch the platform. Thank you, Ray.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.